Yeah, I feel like that was always the plan. I think, the contact that they, Dennis and Justin and all those guys, they stayed in constant contact with me over my 2 years in Europe. So, yeah, I know it was just going to be timing, whenever the time was right. And luckily it played out this year, and I couldn't be more excited.
Have you developed, have you changed in the last 2 years?
I feel like I've developed, every aspect of my game, every aspect of who I am as a person. When you go overseas and cross the water for 2 years, obviously that's a growing experience. Every aspect of my game is different. I think probably most notably is my shooting. I feel like I really had to develop that being over there. The game is so different, and you have to rely on that. So that's definitely something that, I'm looking, I think that would translate coming back.
Trevon, you want to talk a little bit about what you're seeing your role as going into this training camp?
Yeah. So, I'll be attending the training camp, essentially trying to compete for a roster spot. But, if I get cut, then from there that whole year I'll be with the Salt Lake City Stars. So I think it's a good opportunity to kind of be around an organization and kind of mesh with the players and, get a good feel for it and just try to develop myself to get to the next level.
Question back here.
How frank are the Jazz with you about, it's a long shot because the roster is full to find a spot? How open are they with you day one that that's probably what the path looks like?
Yeah, they're honest. They stay top notch with their communication and, kind of let you know what's what. And, we, after telling us, the rosters are pretty full, I just felt like there was still an opportunity, in the future, just to, put myself in a good position. But, I feel like the staff and us, we communicated pretty well. We were on the same page with everything. So.
Question right here.
Trevon, sitting next to Nigel, knowing that your path may be, at least in some way, similar to that, have you guys been able to talk and find out what kinds of things will help you maybe in a couple of years be in that position if you don't make it this year?
Yeah, I mean, just little things like, just being patient. And I think that's, the biggest thing that he talked about is just, just being patient and just having that mental strength, because, being in this business is tough, and it'll make your mental go everywhere. So, just like he did, he stuck with it and knew that there was a light at the end of the tunnel. And as long as you work, it's going to pay off. So those are definitely things that came to me.
Nigel, what are some of the things you've learned in Europe in those 2 years about the game of basketball that maybe you didn't know going into Europe?
I wouldn't say I just learned something totally new about basketball, but I think one of the biggest things is just the competitiveness every night. EuroLeague is a shorter season, 32 games, and you got 30 games for your domestic league. So every game is so crucial. You can't just drop one or two. Like, you got to come out every night trying to win. And I think just that competitiveness and just that, I guess you could say, just that fire, is something that I really picked up on over the last 2 years. And again, I think that's a skill that can translate, no matter where you are. It's competing and playing with that fire.
Hey guys, I don't know how much you follow the news, but this morning it was announced that California signed a bill called SB 206 that allows players to get compensation for use of their likeness. Do you guys have any thoughts on that, how it might change the game, or if you wish it had happened, when you were in school?
Yeah, I would say, about time. I feel like we as athletes, and not specifically just talking about basketball, but athletes in general, we put in a lot of work, a lot of time. And, I feel like sometimes that kind of goes unnoticed. You just see us play on game days and just think it's green. The grass is green on the other side, but it's not. And, I just feel like for that to be passed, it's a step in the right direction. And, athletes are kind of getting, in a sense, what they deserve a little bit. Yeah, so that's what I think.
For me, I think what what I hope it would do for the college game and for college sports in general is that, maybe people stay in school a little bit longer. I feel like that's one of the biggest thing you hear. Part of the reason why I left, a year early is because, we need to start making money. We can only play this game for so long. So the longer you're not making money, then the shorter your professional career is. And, I don't know how much they're being compensated, but, if it is, a little something, maybe it does sway a few players and say, hey, I have a little something in my pocket and I can stay and, try to finish my education or whatever. So hopefully it pays off.
Angela, in the last couple of years, we've seen Jazz have point guard injuries, and guards at the bottom of the roster need to start and even step up.
For sure.
If you are called on that, what kind of NBA point guard do you want to be, and what kind of what would you do in that kind of situation?
I think the biggest thing is I would just be myself. I think, especially at this point, like I'm 25 years old, like I'm not 19 or 20. So, and as far as what type of point guard I would be, it would be the style of point guard that we need here at the Utah Jazz. Coach Snyder is just so big on making the right play. Whatever from top to bottom, make the right play. And I feel like instinctively that's how I play. I've never been one that's tried to focus on one, just straight score or just straight pass. I just try to play the game and help my team win. So I know I will come out, I will compete, I will play the right way, and from there, just let the chips fall where they may.
Nigel, just to kind of follow up on that, this is a team that brought in Mike, brought in Emmanuel, Dante's back. You've got Donovan and Joe who've served as secondary playmakers before. What's your mentality going in, like just trying to carve out a role and show what you can do, just given, kind of the uphill climb you've got in front of you to kind of earn minutes and earn a spot?
Yeah, I think, obviously the roster's what it is very deep, and it's exciting. First and foremost, it's exciting to be a part of such a talented roster, even though it may be harder for all of us, to get on the floor, but being a part of a good team is what we all want to be a part of. And as far as me, I'm going to compete, and I was upfront with Dennis and Coach Snyder. I said, look, I'm going to compete. I'm not going to concede anything, because obviously I'm a competitor and I want to get on the floor. So I'm going to work my tail off every single day to try to get on the floor and try to carve that role. But, I think, it's going to take time.